Right, boys and girls, welcome. I have the story here, Moody Cow Learns Compassion by Carrie Lee McLean. And I read once before, Moody Cow meditates, I believe. And I just think it's great to stop and collect ourselves from time to time and think about different ways that we can be kind, considerate, compassionate, all those things. And I have found this writer to be quite good at reminding me how to do that. So let's see what they have to share with us today. My name is Moody Cow. Well, it's actually Peter, but everyone calls me Moody Cow, except for one time when my friends were calling me Coward Cow because they thought I was a wimp. Help! Do you see the ant on his nose? It all started when my friend Bully and I caught a garter snake by the pond out back. Bully said snakes have to eat live food, so we caught a cricket. I was going to feed it to the snake, I swear. But when I whispered sorry to the cricket first, Bully laughed. "You are such a wimp," he said as he grabbed the poor cricket and fed it right to the snake. The little guy squirmed half in and half out of the snake's mouth. Bully shouted, "Awesome!" He was so excited to see the cricket struggle for its life. "Let's call the snake Jaws," he hollered. I guess I was glad Jaws got a meal, but the whole thing was making me sad. So I handed Jaws to Bully and told him to go home. What do you think about that? Snake has to eat, but is there a kinder way to do it? Bully was so mad he said, "Oh, I get it. You're such a wimp. You can't handle feeding Jaws. See you later, Coward Cow." "Don't call me that," I said. "I'm Moody Cow." And then I stomped back home. That night I had the worst nightmare. I was as tiny as a cricket and a huge snake slithered up to me. Its jaws opened wide, sharp teeth dripped with venom. My little legs were shaking. I screamed, "Don't eat me! Don't eat me! Ah!" I'm sure my mom thought I was nuts screaming like that. At breakfast she said, "Remember to tell grandfather that dream you had when he comes to do the mind jar with you after school." Grandfather and I sat on our meditation cushions, just like we always did after school. I got out my mind jar, the special jar of water we use to represent my mind, and the sparkles that represent upsetting thoughts. "This," I said, putting a pinch of sparkle into the jar, "is me getting mad because Bully called me Coward Cow all day." "Why would he do that?" asked Grandfather. "Because he thinks I'm a wimp because I don't like feeding live crickets to Jaws." "Who's Jaws?" "A snake we caught by the pond." Grandfather said. "I wouldn't like feeding live crickets to Jaws either. Just think how the poor crickets must feel." Ah. "I know how they'd feel," I told him. "I had a nightmare last night that I was a cricket and a huge snake came and tried to eat me for dinner. I woke up screaming like a baby." Grandfather's huge shoulders shook with laughter, and he smiled gently. "Not like a baby. Like someone who understands how it feels to be eaten alive. Better put a bunch of sparkles in for that one." I put in 3 really big handfuls of sparkles. Grandfather shook up the mind jar, and we sat quietly watching it. I breathed in and out a few times. In and out. In and out. In and out. One by one, all those thoughts drifted down to the bottom of the jar. As the sparkles settled down, I noticed my mind did too. "Feel better?" Grandfather asked. I tried not to smile, but I couldn't help it. I did feel better. Now let's go do something fun, Grandfather said. Come with me. What on earth is Grandfather up to, I wondered, as we picked up Bully from across the street. But Grandfather wasn't talking. Next we stopped at the pet store. Are these crickets from another country, or are they from around here? Grandfather asked. On sale, live crickets. The salesman pulled out a cricket for us to look at. These are gray crickets, just like the ones from around here. Grandfather paid for a clear plastic bag filled with live crickets. I wonder what he's got in mind. Finally, we drove home, and Grandfather brought the crickets to the backyard. He smiled mysteriously. Bully and I just looked at each other. We sat looking at the crickets. Cool, Bully said. Look at the dead ones at the bottom. Grandfather said. I wonder what it feels like to be stuck inside there, crawling all over your dead brothers and sisters. I couldn't help shivering. Not very good, I guessed. Bully's face fell. He frowned. Not very good at all, he said. Wonder what Grandfather's trying to do here. Instead of feeding them to the snakes, what do you say we release them? Grandfather asked. Should we let them go on their happy way? Yes, Bully shouted. Awesome, I cried. Grandfather opened the bag and we carefully held them. Let's look for a good spot, somewhere they can find food and water. How about in the cool shade under a bush or a tree? I found a good spot by the stream that feeds our pond. It was like a cozy cave hidden under the little juniper bush. It looks nice and safe under the bush, Grandfather, and there's lots of food and water. Okay, Grandfather said. First we say, may you be happy to the crickets, and then we'll release them on the count of 3. May you be happy, we hollered together. Then we counted. 1, 2, 3. We opened our hands and the crickets hopped down under the bush. Hip, hip, hooray, Grandfather shouted, raising his fists high. Hip, hip, hooray, we called together, punching our fists in the air. Grandfather lay back in the cool evening grass, and Bully and I stretched out too. All was quiet. Then we heard one cricket's song. Pretty soon they all chimed in. We just lay there listening and looking up at the sky until the sun set and stars came out. That sounds peaceful. All of a sudden, Bully sat up. Wait here, he called, disappearing around the corner of the house. He brought Jaws from his cage across the street and stood away from us over by the pond. Do you think he'll be happy here? He asked. You bet, Grandfather chuckled. I believe that is exactly where you found him. Bully held Jaws out near the water's edge, and we all said, May you be happy. The long green stripes slithered into the cool water of the pond. Bully sighed. I guess swimming in a pond is a lot more fun than being stuck in that dinky, stinky cage. I think you're right, said Grandfather. Wild animals are happiest in the wild, just like pets are happiest in your home. Well, now I understand why Grandfather wanted to make sure they were local crickets. Wait a minute, I said. What if Jaws eats the crickets? That, my friend, is the circle of life. I'm afraid everyone needs to eat something to stay alive. At least Bully gave our cricket friends a fighting chance by releasing Jaws far away from them. Yeah, and at least they won't be stuck in that creepy bag, Bully said. I can imagine how the little guys feel now. Then Grandfather got up and stretched. I'm hungry. What have we got to eat? I could go for some nice crunchy crickets, he said, smiling his crooked smile and winking at me. Bully stopped, horrified. He's joking, I whispered, and we all laughed out loud. May all crickets be happy. May all snakes be happy. May all pets be happy. May all children be happy. May all parents be happy. May all beings be happy. Moody cat. Oh, and there we go. So, right? Learning how to feel for other people, put yourself in their shoes, understand their situation. Kind of a cool story. Think about a time where you showed compassion or compassion was shown to you. All right, readers. See you soon.